couldn't find it. She says, well, we won't know
There
until
you
2
go.
weeks in advance.
All right, everybody. I'd like to open the Thursday, July 13th, 2023 meeting of the Mashpee Sewer Commission. To ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As is our custom, we'll observe a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, before we get rolling, is there anyone here from the public or the town, generally in the audience, to have questions or has business that is not on the agenda? I saw a hand. Sir, please approach the bench and, yes, sir, and state your name for the record.
My name is Bob Wallace. I live at 7 Ships Anchor Drive, and I am not a Mashpee resident.
I apologize to interrupt you, sir. If you could have a seat so the microphones can pick you up for the record. Thank you.
Okay, I arrived back here in Mashpee on May 9th and found this green pole sitting in my front yard. What's that? I could hear construction going on the street over. The information I have obtained through this sewer installation has been from my neighbors. So it's second and third hand. So I've been trying to get information directly, and there's been almost no communication between the Sewer Commission, the town of Mashpee, and this resident. I was hoping to get something in the mail that said, okay, Bob, come May so-and-so, we're going to start digging up the road in front of your home. No such information. I checked the website, and there is a schedule for digging up Ships Anchor Drive, and it was to be completed by May 22nd. June 22nd, it was completed. The next street over is Porthole. According to the schedule, it was to be completed June 2nd. They're still digging. They may have completed it either today or maybe late yesterday afternoon. So my question basically is, the problem is, I'm not getting any information as to what the devil is going on. Okay, as a homeowner, you've got to connect your sewer line, your septic line, to the town line. Okay, get an estimate of what it's going to cost you. Well, here's a list of licensed utility installers. Name only, phone number. What's the company? I want to be able to hit their webpage to see what's it going to cost me for an estimate. I had one person tell me in this room that it would cost you $50 to get an estimate of what it would cost to go from your house to the town line. I spoke to Scott Orr. He was on the road on Ships Anchor, and I asked him, how much are you guys going to charge me for an estimate of what it's going to cost? He said, oh, we don't charge you at all. It's free. I said, wait a minute. And you should get 2 or 3 estimates. Wait a minute. That's either getting charged nothing for 3 estimates or $150 for 3 estimates. And there are at least 60 or more homeowners in that phase 1 section. That's a lot of money that might necessarily be avoided. I have more problems. And I'm just really updating you as to what's going on. I don't know if the commission knows what's going on in the town on the roads.
May I speak to this, Mr. Chairman?
Let's listen and then field questions.
I'll spend time with them after.
Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Ships Anchor Drive has a spur road at the end, and that's where all of the construction vehicles are going. and parking overnight and starting and going and moving off. Fine. Now, this is third hand. One of my neighbors, who is right next to this spur, has beehives. Quite a few beehives. He was going to have 5 of them. He has only 2 now. But both of them are empty. Fumes from the trucks? Noise from the trucks? Don't know. Third or fourth hand. Don't know. Again, all secondhand information, maybe third hand. One of my neighbors told me, Bob, I called one of the companies on that list, and he told me it was too soon to get an estimate of what it would cost to connect, because it might be either too low or too high, and so therefore worthless. So my puzzle is, what am I going to do? The construction is running late, at least on these 2 roads, by a good month. Okay. When the construction is finished, the pumping station, the sewage treatment plant, and our connections, we'll have 90 days in which to connect. I will be probably out of state. What am I going to do if I have only 90 days to connect? I don't know if anyone can give me an estimate. Do I have to get that estimate within 90 days? I'm simply puzzled as to what on earth is going on. I want to be able to connect, but I want to have information to connect financially. I have to know what it's going to cost me. Yes.
I'll take this, Joe, if you don't mind.
I'd just like to suggest that you and I sit down immediately after the meeting's over so you can vent 150 questions if necessary, so you can refine your questions. We'll get back to you in writing or however you'd like to do it, because you have valid questions, but we have about a 3-minute thing on the
Okay.
public counting. Now, I will spend this afternoon with you if you wish, and we'll try and address every question you have.
And sir, I do apologize if this has been a source of stress for you. The contact to the homeowners has been through the mail.
okay.
We've also put on Mashpee TV has helped us produce a few short videos to explain to everybody. But the short answer is this. Once you see the stake, then it's time to contact contractors from the list and have those come give an estimate. They will vary in what they require for an estimate. Free, $50, $100, it's up to the company entirely. But it is a good practice to get multiple estimates. You will have 90 days to connect once you receive notice of that time frame. And if you have everything, all your ducks in a row, then you'll be able to go ahead and do that. I think I speak for the entire commission when I don't think anyone is going to be chasing homeowners with fines and all kinds of nonsense if they have to go over the amount of time for any reason. But we do need to have an amount of time to make sure everyone connects. Because for us to have the system online and running, there has to be something to feed it, essentially. So for your information, the town website is an excellent source. Mr. Lyons will answer all your questions, as I'm sure any of us will. And I do know that it is unpleasant to be a homeowner and be told something's happening and you don't really get a say in the matter.
Okay.
You don't need to do
Ms. Sprout.
anything for at least 12 months.
Right.
Let's
Wh- what-
Panicking.
I
Before
know,
you,
but
okay,
we didn't
before you leave, this is
communicate.
actually a 2-step process. When the green stake goes in the yard and you're contacting these licensed utility installers, they come and they have an idea of where the best placement of that stake should be. And there's fantastic placements, there's good, and then there's not so good. You're not going to really have the ability to get a very firm estimate until you're much closer to the construction date. But that company that can say, this is the perfect place for that stake, is probably going to be able to do the job more efficiently. And that's what you're looking for, is the efficient placement, the perfect placement of where your sewer line is going to connect to the main sewer line, your lateral. So that's the first part of the job. You're not even going to get an estimate because you're a year out and you can't predict the price of plumbing, the price of labor, et cetera. That's in the future. That's okay. But you want to build a relationship with a company that really understands what's going on. what's going on in your home, what's going on in the project. You make that connection, get the stake in the right place. Robert B. Hour comes, they do what they have to do, they put the lateral in a good place, and then you get together with your neighbors and you say, who do you like? And if you all come together and say, we like this one contractor really well, you come together and you get that one contractor, and when it comes time to put the stuff in, you get a group price. So it's a two-part project. Get the stake in the right place, the construction happens, you get a relationship with a company, and then later on, you talk with your neighbors. That's part two. The estimate is next year.
You just raised more questions. You know, how do you know it's in the right place unless you call the company? What company do you call?
Well, some of them do have
That
that
list?
$50 estimate on the list. I was surprised. Most of them do not. They'll come out and do the free estimate. It's just a
Free
matter of...
estimate?
it's-
Keep asking.
Keep asking, yeah.
That's not what I heard.
No, well, that's...
It's a
I'm
long
sorry
list of
I missed you.
companies.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Sprout and Commissioner Lyons. Any other business before we get rolling? All right.
Chair, I don't, if you
Yes,
want
sir.
to speak during or under public, just as liaison, that's up your choice.
Sure.
Come on down, Mr. Selectman.
Mr. Chair, Sewer Commission Board, thank you for, just take 2 minutes. First off, thank you for sitting behind on that seat, because I know it's been challenging and there's a lot of navigating, and as we just heard. So thank you for all that. But I just want to give you a couple quick updates. I don't know if everyone's aware, but I have requested, and this just came down yesterday, as far as a potential joint meeting for Monday. It would be 6 o'clock, and with hopes that we can, sit together as two boards and then, hear it all, digest it, discuss, and go from there. So it's happening fast forward, which is great. I hope that you're as excited as I am to find out more as far as what might be the next step. So I want to apologize for the short notice, but that's the time frame we got it, and it was literally 24 hours ago. So beyond that, I don't know if you have any questions for me, but I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of the time frame, and what if I knew sooner, you would have known, but as soon as we knew. But I definitely thought it would be best to have both boards there, going through the information all at once, and we'll see where it goes.
That almost sounds like efficient government. I think it's a wonderful,
I was just curious, is the agenda coming out today for
It
that
is.
meeting?
So I was up there this morning, and officially, I think it's like 4 o'clock, they officially publish it, but it's basically a joint meeting starting at 6 PM.
And it will review the plan of action or the menu of options? Is that,
I don't know if that will be in the agenda and the packet. I think that's going to be presented to us all at once at that time.
okay, thank you.
I
my
believe that's
understanding.
the case.
great. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I was surprised that we were going to have this meeting so soon. I didn't expect it yet, so that makes me pretty happy that we're rolling along, and I know you guys have to be too.
Yeah, so, and just to make something to Mr. Lyons, Joe, they will be referencing everything off of the plan from 2015.
Yes.
So I'm just going to leave it at that, so that should put a smile on your face.
Yep.
Very
Anybody
good.
else?
Well, that only took 25 years to put together, so we didn't have to throw it away,
Just put a smile on your face and I'm good.
Where are you going?
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Selectman. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
everybody, for all you do.
Anyone else? All right, we'll proceed with our agenda, the discussion and approval of the June 22nd Sewer Commission meeting minutes. As we still have a quorum, while Mr. Lyons is being a liaison, I'll go ahead and take the vote.
I did have a little question.
Yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
If you could go to page 2, the top line. This was from June 22nd, right? At that time, Mr. Collins, did he really say June 26th? Expects it will be ready, the plan of action, by June 26th?
I would have to review the video.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing. And then the second thing was I felt like, well, I believe that the motion that I made should be modified slightly. Should say, made a motion, modify and table Mr. Lyons' motion to await information that has been collected to help guide the Sewer Commission's recommendation to the Select Board to reconvene, and then to reconvene at a most feasible convenient time after the Select Board meeting presents its plan of action. That
Okay,
was-
so your
That was
alteration.
really what I meant.
Okay.
And what I said, in fact, I think.
All right, in that case, does any other commissioner have an issue with us tabling this for the next meeting so we can work on those corrections? Very well. Consider the matter tabled for our next meeting. That will remain on the agenda. Next topic, the discussion and vote of commission reorganization. Reorganization of commissions is a really healthy thing. We did it annually on the Conservation Commission, and our Select Board sets a great precedent at doing the same thing. And if we are ready to make nominations, suggest, or if anyone specifically wants a particular role, discussion is open.
I would like to nominate Chad Smith for Sewer Commission
As chair?
as chair.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to work with you. Next position, Vice President. I would like to nominate Meredith Harris.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. And secretary. Do we have a secretary? Who's a secretary right now?
There is a
Clerk is Catherine.
Clerk, that's right.
I nominate Catherine as clerk.
Second.
Catherine Castaneda.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Thank you.
Catherine, you really did a wonderful job with the website. I really appreciate it, and I know we all do.
We're still working on it. It still needs work, but.
There was a point of clarification that I think has been clarified, but I just wanted to bring it up. 3 commissioners were scheduled to be off the commission as of June 30th, 2023. And I was hoping that wasn't the case, but I assumed that, so I wasn't aware of the process, but I assumed that they've all been reappointed.
I can double check, but my experience on conservation is that once you're appointed, unless there's a legitimate reason to remove a commissioner, that they remain on the commission. But I will double check.
Yeah. As far as I know, they're reappointed till 2026.
All right, next point of order, or point of business, reviewing website and redesign. I will turn that over to Ms. Catherine.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have much to say on that, except that the changes that we requested at the last month were executed immediately, and I have verified that they are all complete. So that's good. So as of that day, June 22nd, June 23rd, the Mashpee website was updated, and I would encourage Mr. Wallace to check it and look at the sewer at the first item, the information there directly for residents. The next stage, I think we want to wait till after August, until after some changes and flux we undergo. And I want to see, and I want to invite the public and everybody else to submit via email, via the Sewer Commission's email, any suggestions or questions that they may have to pose to the Sewer Commission. That's probably the most efficient way to do it, other than coming and talking to us.
It has been a work in progress, so depending on when you went to the website,
Website.
if you didn't find what you want,
That's a good
you may
point.
assume that it wasn't going to be there ever, but now that it's updated, that's one we really need to know. Do we need to do more work?
There's good information there. We just encourage people to spend the time reviewing it. The final thing that I would like to say is there are changes that still need to be made further deeper into the website. And one of the ones that concerns me the most was something that Ray and I had discussed quite recently, and that was getting the engineer's report posted. There is a space for those engineer reports to be posted. And the plan was to have at least the last 3 chronological engineer reports posted. At this point, nothing is posted. So I would encourage us to try and figure out a way to get the last engineer's report posted to the website. And I can handle that with Terry Cook as long as I know where it is. So that's,
I have a question for you, Catherine. Are you looking for the presentations are you looking for the presentations that the engineers
Yeah.
did for us? Or
That-
are you looking for other kinds of reports? the
well,
updates?
I think that's the report he gave to the sewer commissioner, the sewer commission. So I was thinking at a minimum, that would be it, unless he submitted something else entirely different to the select board.
The chair recognizes the town planner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't anticipating making any comments today, but your website discussion prompted me to want to at least address a couple things I've
Great.
noticed with the website that I think can be further improved.
Oh, yeah.
The planning department is often the logical place people have been coming to for answers relative to the ongoing construction schedule, relative to data and resources that are available on the webpage. So I've taken the opportunity to go through the webpage and make sure I can identify resources for residents as questions arise. One thing that I think is a critical component that is missing is a really solid landing page that tells residents where they can find everything on that webpage. It feels a little bit like an endless labyrinth of links at the moment, and you need to continuously kind of hunt through the links to find what you want. My department and my staff, we've developed a pretty solid understanding of the website's limited capabilities and how to apply them to the best of the website's ability, and we'd be more than happy to assist the commission in making sure that your suggested changes get up quickly and efficiently and are super functional. We want to make sure that, I certainly don't want to be in a position to have a resident come and ask me a question and not really be able to help them. I like to be a problem solver and provide them with good information and to be a resource. So I want to make sure that I'm in the best possible position to be that for everyone who does come to my office. So as it pertains to the website, we'd be more than happy to assist. And I think a solid landing page that kind of points people in the right direction. If you're looking for a construction schedule, click this link. If you're looking for X, Y, or Z, click that link. And help people navigate that web page. I mean, a lot of people who, I'm of a generation who the structure of a website is relatively logical. But if you're not like me, you can get lost. So I'd be more than happy to help. I'd be more than happy to suggest the structure of a landing page, but I think that would be a great step.
Oh, thank you, Evan. I really appreciate that. I think we should talk.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It would be my pleasure anytime.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Larry, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is there any one area that you're getting the majority of your questions coming?
A lot of my questions are that I receive are, what phase am I going to be on, and what's happening with construction? People, it's simple stuff. A lot of the information is on the website. Often the response to one question triggers a new question, and truthfully, I'm not as up to speed, obviously, as Ray had been. Certainly, no expert, or as far up to speed as you are all on this particular project. But what I can do is help be a website navigator. So I just want to make sure I'm in a good position to do that and assist where I'm able. But those are frequently the questions, Meredith. It's people come back from their winter vacations, they're here for the summer, and they haven't been paying attention. They've been somewhere else. And when they come home, construction's underway. There's been a significant change from the prior year. So the first place to go is a website, and if they're overwhelmed with where to find things and they feel like they're not getting it, they can get frustrated and confused, and
they call
no
you.
one wants that. And they call me. And I want to help, and I'd like to be able to.
Well, we would really appreciate it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think
Brenda.
everybody would agree. We need a simple index.
That's right.
We don't have an index. We have a pile of data.
Yeah, so I think a really good landing page, I'd be more than happy to help with that, would,
Well,
would go a
yeah.
long, long way.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Evan.
Yes.
So I know you had raised your hand just now, but you're also the next item on the agenda, so we'll just roll with it.
Okay. I wanted to offer something, Sandy Turpa, GHD, support to respond to the engineer's reports. Ray would receive reports from GHD, Weston and Sampson, and Environmental Partners, and he would pull those into one report, which he gave to you. I'm going to guess that's what he was talking
Yes,
about, taking that
yes.
presentation.
Yes.
I did that last time, and I will do that in
Thank
2
you.
weeks from now. So I will be happy to share last 2 weeks ago, I'll give you a PDF of those slides,
Fantastic. Okay,
if that will help you.
excellent.
Okay.
That's where to
Thank you.
start, yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so this is first item in new business, construction update with GHD.
Sandy Tripp again. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation for this meeting, and which is probably just as well because it wasn't set up, but I'm happy to give a short update on where we are with the projects, starting with the North Project, Contract 2. Right now, this contractor is really moving on High Sachem Road. So you're going to see a lot of activity for a while on that road. Most of the other roads as part of Project 2 are complete for most places. Now, they still have to go back and pave, but the laterals are in the ground and the sewers are in the ground. And they might be out, if your people see somebody out there, they might be testing the gravity sewers. Meaning they're going to pressure test them to make sure that they're leak-free. On the south end of the project, they have completed a lot of the main line work. They're going to be starting down Ship's Lantern soon. And they have a little bit left to do on Porthole Drive, kind of weighing into what gentleman here was talking about. Moving into Summerwood toward the end of the month. And that's pretty much where we are with those projects. Okay.
Just a quick question. Is High Sachem the duplicate access to the plant?
It's across the street from the access to the plant. They're not ready to go up to the plant yet.
That was a question about the destination of the work on High Sachem.
It will
Is that going to the plant?
Yes.
So that's another alternative. We'll have two runs to the plant, actually. One up High Sachem and the other one up Ashley,
I'm not,
Ashes
Asher's Path?
Path. Is that true?
I don't know offhand, I'll
Okay,
be honest.
thank you.
I have to look at the maps.
Commissioner Sprout?
Yes, the other two roads that are listed in the South Project are Quiniquisette Avenue and Orchard Road, and we haven't had an update on where they are in the schedule. If you could help us out?
Good question. I can get back to you with that.
Okay, thank you.
We're also starting to work at the Mashpee Neck Pump Station. You're going to start seeing some activity there. Okay. On the plant site, if you noticed, Al, you were out yesterday, I saw, I'm sure others have been out, but it's no longer a job where you can stand on the hill and look down and see everything. Things are building up. So we're getting out of the basement. The masons have been on site, so we now have basement walls. You can get an idea what some of the rooms look like out there. Masons will probably be demobilizing temporarily in the next week or so. But we're starting to get structural steel in to start putting down the first floors, ceilings to the basement, floors of the floor decking for the ground floors. So it's getting pretty exciting out there, but things are going well. Okay?
Thank you for being here in Mr. Jack's place. We really appreciate it, and you taking your time out of your day.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All right, move on to the June 26th Select Board meeting. Lots happened, and since then, do we have any commentary, questions, or remarks that we'd like to make about it?
I would like to ask you what you've been up to help the select board on this.
Well, let's-
I know I'm curious.
The Select Board, the Town Manager's Office, myself, and GHD have been working together and staying in communication. The Town Manager's Office, I'd like to really thank Wayne Taylor for taking over a lot of the day-to-day duties, which invoicing, payment,
Right.
things like that, because, he didn't have a full-time job already. The contract has been great at keeping me in the general loop on things that are going on and some of the more mundane processes. And one of the other things that came down the pipe this week is there's going to be a plaque on the wall, much like at the town transfer station, and that will feature names of various commissions, including Mr. Ray Jack.
Okay.
And the Monday will be a big day. There'll be a lot of information presented there. And I think that's the culmination of a lot of the efforts that is not directly related to the current construction, but it's in future planning.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a comment or a question. It seems that there are 3-4 different ways that the possibility that the menu can go when we hear about it on Monday. And I was hoping that we could have at least some discussion in some way here about what the possibilities are. I mean, we've been talking about the sewer, we've been helping to plan the directions for the sewer for years. And so we've got the 2015 plan, and that's started. We've got the 2021 plan, we've got the 2022 plan, and the 2023 plan. And so all of us are of the same mind. Clean water is going to be critical. Which parts of the clean water are going to be the most important to address and when? There are some big issues that there were certainly over the 4th of July as the greater cyanobacteria blooms have occurred in the ponds, and now it seems as if all of the ponds in Sandwich and in Mashpee have been experiencing cyanobacteria blooms. So do we want to have a discussion at this point at all about where we think the best cleanup would be? Joe, you had talked about where we should look at in terms of the finishing, and I know that part of it was finishing the rest of Phase 1 in the 2015 plan. Cleaning up Mashpee River, critical, but all of it's critical. So do we have an opinion of where we might want to help channel the discussion as we go, or do we want to wait? There's been information and we already know what we've been discussing. So I was hoping that we could have a bit of a discussion today. Joe?
There are two issues. One is freshwater pollution, the ponds, and the other is septic pollution. And they don't necessarily mix. The 2015 plan was a recognition that the septic waste coming from all of our houses, collecting together because of the soil we have, in the estuaries is destroying the estuaries.
Right.
Didn't destroy the ponds, didn't create the cyanobacteria problem in the ponds either.
No, I
Okay?
understand that. The two are
So,
separate.
wait a minute now, the Natural Resource Group is working very diligently to attack the worst problem that they have there at Santuit and other, okay? Now, that will move forward under a separate plan. It's not part of the sewer plan. It's not part of the sewer commission's agenda. So I think when you try and mix the two, you're just creating confusion, and I'm dead set against it. That has to be addressed differently than the 10-15 plan. We've got to take care of the septic problem. It's not going away, it's getting worse. We have more people living here, we have more septic being dumped in the ground. We've got to address that. That's our commission's charter. That's what the selectmen are trying to address also. Now, the ponds will require other things. Fosdeck would be a beautiful thing, but the state of Massachusetts is against it. Alum is another pretty good treatment, and that's probably where we're going to end up. But I'm not calling those things. The Bureau of Natural Resources is.
But
That's their job.
But we also need to look at the headwaters of the Mashpee River are actually at the river starts at the south end of Mashpee Wakeby Pond. The accumulation, and there's still a study going on about Mashpee Wakeby Pond and what may be causing some of the issues with that. I agree. The cyanobacteria may be different, or is very different from the septic. However, we still need to look at addressing the issues altogether.
I got a food for thought if, we want to discuss this. This has come up again and again, the issue of lakes, freshwater, and what we can do as a sewer commission, or if it's a good idea for us to look at trying to sewer some of these properties. The other side of the argument is that it's an expensive venture. We already have an expensive venture, and we don't want to make the whole endeavor untenable. My thought is perhaps we can form a subcommittee to look and see, we've been looking at this for 25 years. Why don't we look and see if we have any information, study or other things that have been presented, and look and see if this is something we should be talking about or addressing. It may be just like Joe said. He's been here for a long time. He knows a lot about it. But if there's the time and energy within this commission, it might be worth having a look to see what other commissions, people who have sat in these seats, have been presented and what we know, and that answer might be nothing, or there might be something useful.
I agree. There is a study, as I said, that's going on right now in Mashpee Wakeby Pond, and the data won't be completed until 2024. However, the thing that has me concerned is that one of the things that is thought about, and one of the scientists had presented at a meeting 2 weeks ago, who had said that what we think is happening with the cyanobacteria blooms or with some of the other pollutions that are occurring is a result of the building boom of the 1980s. So if we're talking about how slow phosphorus moves through the land, and we're talking about a 20-year movement, are we going to wait until, and I agree, we need to figure out more of what's going on, we need to get the results of the study. But my concern is that if it takes 20 years or more, in terms of decades, for the pollution, for the phosphorus to move through the land, are we gonna wait until Mashpee Wakeby Pond looks like Santua Pond? So I think that these are things that we need to think about, not in terms of today, not in terms of tomorrow, but in terms of what is happening over the next 20 years. And this plan has been going on since 25 years. The plan that we're following is from 2015, and that needs to be looked at in terms of what we're cleaning up. So yes, we can be patient, but we don't have a long time to wait.
Well, I would propose that for the next meeting, we put an agenda item on to discuss potentially forming a subcommittee to investigate what evidence there is and what and if the sewer commission should do involving that. And we can take 2 weeks, think about who might want to be part of it, and then discuss.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Is that steam coming out of your ears, Joe?
What that?
Is that steam coming out of your ears right now?
No, I can point to the 2005 study. Is that the one for Santuit? Do you remember? By any chance, John?
Is that, I think.
Was it 2005 that
I think-
Santuit was studied?
I think it's
and
2010.
They named phosphorus as the problem, and that's been confirmed by thousands of other studies around the country, that what we have in the presence of phosphorus now in fresh water it's like the super juice that makes cyanobacteria bloom and create poisons.
And coming from the
If
septic
there's
to a certain extent.
no phosphates, it doesn't happen. The cyanobacteria is just a natural ingredient in our environment.
Right.
And it doesn't overgrow, it only grows a certain amount. But when you have phosphorus present, it explodes and creates a real poisonous, potentially poisonous environment. So we can discuss it all you want, but we're not gonna solve it by sewering. That's not the issue. You know,
Well,
and
perhaps-
people are being told it's the issue by more and more studies that link it to sewerage. Get that out of our heads, because we can't win that battle. It's not a valid chemistry. You know, the chemistry is different.
So then what do you propose is going to be?
Chad?
I don't totally agree with you, because I think at some point in time, we do need to address what is going to be happening with cleaning our water, whether it's the estuaries or whether it's the ponds, or both. And I think we need to address both.
Yeah,
As a town, I couldn't agree more.
Next. Go ahead, Catherine.
I'm gonna, I agree with both of you in many ways. The, sorry, my throat's bothering me today. The Santuit Pond is not a closed system. It continues through the Santuit River and out to Pompanesett. So contamination that's nitrogen or phosphate, whatever it is, it's contributing to contamination in the Santuit River, which is extending out to former blue crab fishing areas that don't have the fishery there anymore in Pompanesett. So Wakeby's the same way. These are headwaters. They do contribute to the estuaries. They are not disconnected. They are not closed ponds. So they are contributors. So in a way, I agree that the septic contribution with phosphate and nitrogen are contributing to problems in the ponds, but they are contributing to problems in the estuaries. I agree with Joe that really we have to focus on the estuaries right now, I think, especially the Mashpee Neck River, as a goal to get one area properly sewered to prove faster to the community and to the state that we can achieve something that's going to provide measurable positive results. And that way we have a smoother path toward further work. I want to see cost efficiency. I think if it's possible at the same time to continue phase 2, to possibly begin a preliminary design for a wastewater treatment facility on the west side of town. I don't know what chance that is, but I would like to see those things go in tandem. That's my 2 cents.
And further discussion? Mr. Selectman, come on up. Chair recognizes Select Board Member John Cotton.
Thank you, everybody. Just, Meredith, to you, great question. I do think after Monday's meeting, I think that you're going to have a potential roadmap of, okay, start those discussions. Because it's basically about connecting what we have in phase 1 and connecting the tracks of going north, going south, going east, going west, with cost associated with it. And we can't beam ourselves over to Mashpee Wakeby, and we also, just specifically Mashpee Wakeby, because you brought it up, we also have to deal with the town of Sandwich, when you're talking about connection of share ponds and lakes. That's another whole unique challenge. But I think after Monday's meeting, I think you're going to have a potential of lots of discussion of, okay, now, if we move forward with a potential phase 2, looking at this section corresponding to this much money, how much are realizing that whatever we decide on Monday or soon, this is going to be a tax burden. Everything for phase one was different. We had whiffs and we had other things to pay for the phase one. That's off the table. So, we have to get very creative, but we also we need to keep moving forward but at the same time, this all can be discussed on Monday. But I think after Monday, you're going to have a lot more information as far as, okay, we go this way, we go east, we go west, cost associated with it, the value is how many households are going to be connected with each direction associated with cost. So if that makes sense, I agree with you. Probably after Monday's meeting, you're probably going to be ready to, wow, we could talk about this for hours.
For years.
Days.
We will be.
Days, weeks.
Commissioner Sprout,
25
you have a
years.
question?
Thank you.
I do have a question before you leave. In previous discussions, we've been told about this deadline that we have to meet in August about a new proposal. Is that going to be something that we might talk about on Monday?
We can, but I think I think the town manager addressed, we're not sitting on our hands. And that's the reason why they're providing some information. And I called our boards together because this is our chance to act. And again, it's, as to Meredith's point, we'll be doing this for years probably. Because each step, it's, we can't do it all at once, and, it's not like the whole town is going to be dug up at the same time. It's not going to happen, and nor can we afford to do that, have that happen. But everything you'll see on Monday, there'll be a cost associated with it, and that's going to be that's going to be the tough part. So, because then we have to sell it to all the residents, how important it is.
I have another question for you. Do you know what the status is of the town applying for a watershed permit?
It's in process. Obviously, with Rajac, it was, the town manager is working on it.
Yeah.
We're still kind of picking up the pieces.
I understand that, and we will never be able to escape from the loss of Rajac. He was just an absolute tower. But the watershed permit and discussion about it will be an important one for all of the residents, because in 2 years, it's a question of IA systems, or it's a question of the town getting a 20-year kind of delay in moving
Meredith?
toward the watershed.
Keep in mind that the 2015 plan was devised
beginning to address
on the
that.
basis of a watershed. Everything in that plan is based on an east watershed and a west watershed and sharing with the other towns. It fits the legal passage of the thing, what was it, the 5th of the month?
No.
July 5th? This whole thing about being a watershed,
yes,
we're
yes.
prepared for it because it was created that way. Our plan, our sewer system is designed to address the watershed issue.
I
Okay?
understand that, but there is a time frame in terms of getting the permit started.
The town just has to ask for it, and it'll be granted. But we've already been into 20 years of planning on the watershed, which the state has now made a law out of. It's not a confusing issue.
No, it's not confusing. It has to do, there's no point in discussing it or in arguing about it.
Well, the vice chair is doing their due diligence, ensuring there's a lot of ships that have to be sailing in the same direction, and I appreciate the question.
And that's one of them, yeah.
Other discussion?
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to item 3 under new business. This is, well, we've pretty much just done this. Discussion of the menu option put in place by the town manager and the goals of sewer commission. Does anyone have anything else to add to the conversation, which has pretty much already been underway? All right, item 4, discussion of memorializing Mr. Rajac.
Now, we have, I think there's a number of options. There will be, GHD has already informed us that there's, his name is going to be included on the plaque inside the treatment plant. Are there other ideas that we have that people would like to throw out there? Mr. Toole?
I was out walking the site and looking at the prints, and I thought it might be a nice idea to name the road off Carlton that goes into the site, like Ray Jack Way or something.
That's a great idea. I really like that, because I do understand that there was prior discussion by this commission with different members as to what the plant should be named. I think your suggestion is excellent. Catherine?
I assume there's landscaping going to be performed on the grounds of the wastewater treatment plant once it's up and running. I was actually thinking, I'm dreaming of pollinator gardens lately, and I was just wondering if I could throw it out there, a small pollinator garden in memory of Ray Jack at the treatment plant. Thank you. That's it.
Why not both? Other discussion? Well, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that, we're not talking about a lot of money here for pollinator gardens that could be applied for through community preservation. And, naming the road is something we can do through DPW. So I'm going to make a motion to memorialize Mr. Rajak by both Catherine's suggestion of a pollinator garden and Mr. Toole's suggestion of naming the road after him.
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Sprout. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. 5, discussion of the direction of the sewer commission this point forward, and that is a loaded question now, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and just suggest that we do Mr. Cotton's suggestion. We hear and see the results of our discussion and presentation on the joint select board sewer commission meeting Monday, and then we have this talk. All right, is there any other business commissioners have, questions or comments? Is there anyone in the audience who needs to speak or has any questions? Yes, Mackenzie, please approach. Chair recognizes the reporter from the Mashpee Enterprise.
Hi, everyone. I just figured I would talk to you while I have you all here in the same room. I've spoken with Chad before, and I had the idea prior to race passing to help get rid of some of the confusion around what the green stake means to a property owner, and I wanted to put this out to the ether, whoever may be watching. I'd love to do an article following someone from the commission and maybe an engineer consultant firm and a homeowner to actually walk through the process of, I have a green stake, what do I do? And have all those questions answered in an article in the paper, and it'll be online as well, so that it's kind of congested into one thing.
Let's do it.
So I'll leave my card with whoever would like that, and we can discuss moving that forward if you'd like to do that.
Our unofficial and very active ambassador is Ms. Phyllis Sprout. I would direct you to have a conversation with
My
her.
card with you, and we can be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Toole.
hearing nothing else, I move we adjourn.
I second that. Geez, Joe, I think you beat me to it. All those in favor?
Go.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone.